IFRS for private equity. Hello, my name's David Potts. I'm delighted to be able to tell you a bit more about this Redcliffe live webinar when we look at how to apply IFRS accounts to a private equity fund. This is a full day's webinar, which is designed to take you the whole way through the process. So it will look at all of the various participants in the private equity fund and will focus on their particular needs and the accounting requirements they're going to have to consider under IFRS. We do presume some good knowledge of the basics of IFRS accounts. The objectives of the webinar are really to pick up on this very significant particular type of legal structure and just to consider in detail how you must prepare fully compliant IFRS accounts. We will try and look at all of the most typical aspects in terms of the presentation and the detailed specific accounting requirements, building on the best industry practice which is available. It will be relevant as a webinar to all of the participants in the funds, but particularly we will look at the accounting requirements from the limited partners, for those who are investing into the fund, and also from the general partners who are managing the fund, managing the investments, and are taking their fees and rewards from providing that service. We will concentrate on application, and within the structure of an LLP, there are always the additional requirements to consider. The fact that we don't have this kind of single group of shareholders, we do have the members, the partners with their different interests. And the focus has always been on how we, in the accounts, reflect that partnership structure and report it properly in a set of IFRS accounts. So the programme through the day, I will start with a quick recap of what are the requirements of IFRS accounts in all cases, the basic elements of the structure that cannot be avoided, the main statements to prepare, things like changes in partners' interest notes, why they are important, and also the main components. What do we mean by assets? What do we mean by liabilities? What do we mean by equity and the various types of equity reward? As part of that, we will also look at things like, from that, what is meant by profit and loss, what is meant by income and expenses. The reason why we need to know that information first is when it comes to looking at the partner's interests, dealing with things like the initial capital commitments, if there is then capital drawdown, if there are equalisation provisions, allocation of profits, allocation of management charges to the general partners, all of that, the accounting for it will be driven or dictated by what are the primary requirements of IFRS. Is it an interest payment? Is it interest received? Is it a profit share? Is it an equity profit share equivalent to a dividend? Is it a fixed allocation of profits like a finance charge? What we're really doing with all of those specific aspects is making sure that we are properly applying IFRS accounting to those aspects. The other part of the fund, which is absolutely critical, are the investments held by the fund. And we will look at how those investments must be valued. They are required to be valued at fair value. So what actually does fair value mean? And also, if it is an off-market investment, if there is no market valuation, what are we meant to do to identify an acceptable fair value? and how do we treat the gains and losses on that valuation. So that is what we'll be covering. The course will be practical, there will be examples, there will be numerical examples, and as always, for our webinars, we do encourage as much participation as you want, whether it's questions, whether it is looking at further examples, practical case studies. We're more than happy for you to get as involved as suits you best. I do hope that we're able to see you on the course at some point in the near future. Thank you.